Kia ora. I am so pleased to have Ted Thomas here, the new president of the Wellington College Old Boys Association. Thanks so much for coming in, Ted, to meet with me. So, class of 1976. Yep, so you were in Firth House, and when you came to Wellington College, it was a boarding school, and your experience was as a boarder.
Yeah. So we arrived here from the Hawke's Bay, not really knowing anything about Wellington College actually, other than the fact that my father and a couple of my uncles had been here.
Yeah.
That was I came here in 76, 72 actually, and then was here for 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Firth House sat up where the sports centre is now, and it looked over that what we used to call the number 2 field, which is the turf. And it was, I mean, you were saying to me before we started this interview that, you know, the boarding was a really created an amazing heart for the school.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, so it did. It sat over what was the number 3.
Yeah, is that what they called it?
And
yeah.
it was that field got heavily utilised because the Wellington College Old Boys
Rugby club sat there.
Rugby club also sat there, and they trained on it a lot.
Yeah.
So the boarding school itself, in terms of that being a heart, I remember back in 1975, as an example, in the first 15 at that time, 2/3 of the team came out of the boarding school of 125 boys. You know, so. It was, and they were always part of whatever was going on in the college.
Yeah. And rugby was a really big part of your experience here. I think you had 3 years in the first 15 and played representative rugby from here. So what are some of your memories of that?
A lot of trainings down on the number 1, plenty of gut busters up the track. A couple of guys here that sort of were involved in the coaching. A guy, Pat Hickey, who was the first 15 coach, and Kelvin Wright.
Yeah.
Who helped certainly in terms of the forwards. We had a good side. We won the competition one year. We were playing an under 19 grade in that time, and a couple of 3 tournaments. One here at home and drew that. That was great. Yeah, it was a good time. So I suppose it's sort of I made a lot of friends, and I went on to university here.
Yeah. And one of your teammates one of the years was Chris Wells, who's still on the Wellington College staff and still coaching rugby at Wellington College.
Yeah, that's right. And even some of the old staff members, not so much probably teaching these days, but outside of Chris, who's still around, but a few others. I bumped into Mike Pallin today.
Oh, yeah, he helps us with the archives here.
Yeah, those guys, yeah.
Yeah. When you left Wellington College, you stayed in Wellington and went to Victoria University. And you played rugby both initially for Wellington College Old Boys and Victoria University, but later you were involved with chairing the merger of those 2 clubs to create what we now call OBU.
Yeah, so in 91 the merger occurred, but there'd been a lot of sort of conversational going on. The Wellington Club were involved, Wellington College Old Boys and Victoria Universities, and both the Wellington College Old Boys and Vic clubs were struggling a little, but we saw the opportunity to sort of monopolise the centre of the city, and so we worked through that program to merge at that time, and now it's probably the strongest and one of the largest clubs, even in New Zealand.
Yeah, and it's been great to have the premier team play here a couple of times so far this season. Ted, even though you came here and your father came here, your own sons weren't able to come here because the zoning rules at that time, I guess early 2000s, was it? Yes. Didn't allow preferential ballot places for sons of Old Boys. So you had this little period of your life where you were supporting St. Pat's Town.
Yes, I did. So I helped over there. I coached rugby over there actually. Yeah. I helped them set up their rugby club. At that time, and it was a interesting time. But the boys enjoyed it. They all played rugby. They played first 15 for St. Pat's. They both got a win over the Cole in that time. So I've still had a passion for sort of following the school.
Yeah, you've had a pretty distinguished career in IT, investment banking. You're still on a range of boards. You've created and sold companies and done various things. You're still on a range of boards, even a key committee at the Ministry of Education, I think.
Yes.
So you're a really busy guy. Why have you made the decision to get involved at this level with the Old Boys Association? What's been the personal driver for you to sort of reconnect with Wellington College and the Old Boys community in this way?
Well, I thought that there's a really good opportunity to give back. And I felt that maybe the engagement, if we can get more if we can get a number of people sort of across different generations involved, then look at that engagement back into the Old Boy network. And a few old boys have sort of said to me, you know, it would be better if we could do this or that. And I said, well, you know, you can only make a difference if you're actually participating in it. So I felt that it was a reasonable time. You say I'm busy, yeah, well, I don't have any staff these days, so that makes it a little easier.
Gives you a bit of flexibility.
A bit more flexibility.
Yeah.
It's still quite busy, but, you know, the years when I was exporting software around the world, that was pretty chaotic. You know, we were probably into 40, 50 different countries. And it was a fantastic experience. You know, you meet a lot of people, a lot of cultures, and in those days, a lot of international travel.
Yeah.
Something we don't have today. But yeah, it was really about a time to get back and how, you know, if we can put a little bit of structure and work out how Wellington College Old Boys Association can be relevant in the current ecosystem. You know, the college has changed, but you know, we've got there's still a lot of goodwill out there. I think if we can tap into that and drive it forward, then you know it provides a good platform for the young men at the college as they go forward.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm an old boy as well. So it's such a pleasure to sit on this committee. I think officially as the patron, but I feel way too young to be a patron. Oh, well, I'm a patron of OBU as well.
That's right.
But it's been pretty exciting talking about the future of the association. What are 2 or 3 things that you're really hoping for the, you know, with others for the association to sort of achieve over the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, we've really been working on, you know, where its place is in the ecosystem. So in the context of, you know, better engagement and working out how we can use technology as a better communications vehicle. Because what we see is, you know, a lot of information is created, whether it's in the college or outside, and then how can we bring that together without having to reinvent it and get it out to the right audience at the right time. And then secondly, that probably leads into that closer reconnection will help, you know, when funds are needed. And then thirdly, how the Old Boy network may play a better role in the context of the journey of the young men as they transition out of college and into the workforce in their careers, and helping maybe the well-being around that. You know, so mentorships, internships, apprenticeships, employment, jobs. Yeah, if we can get all that connected up, then we should have a really interesting sort of journey over the next few years.
I know for the current students that being an old boy, you know, the fact that there's this old boy community creates this real sense of belonging for them, so that you come to Wellington College but you never really leave. You know, that you are part of something bigger than yourself. So thank you to you and all the other old boys who give back to the school in so many ways. And thanks so much for coming in for this chat today. And we hope that the people out there watching it get a bit of a sense of you, but also of the Wellington College Old Boys Association and its purpose and goals. So thanks everyone, and thanks Ted, ka kite. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.